jobs to get on arrival to the UK. Now, the jobs I'm going to be discussing today are, as it says, the easiest ones to get. A lot of them are manual jobs, which not with your professional qualifications, or jobs you can get with as few qualifications as possible. Just anything to get you into the job market and start earning. So those are the few jobs we will cover today. Also, if you do join us on Instagram when you have a question about property, you can send those through as well. I would appreciate if you could log on to our YouTube and send them there. It'll be so much easier to take your questions on YouTube. The link is in our bio, and just click on it and then we'll be able to put your question up on the screen. Okay, so I have mentioned in the past many times on this channel in relation to other things, universal job search. This is where you should be starting. Your first starting point for searching for jobs in the UK is universal job search. It's the government's portal from the UK government for searching. Now, a lot of us, we tend to look on Indeed, Total Jobs, these other sort of sites. And while those are all very good sites, there are advantages to using the government's own site, because there are employers you will find on there who don't go to Indeed and these other private ones. They strictly advertise there. So if you're looking for something quick in retail, hospitality, that sort of thing, that will be your first starting point, universal job search. So I've got it on the screen on YouTube. This will be available later to watch back, just in case you need to make a note of that. And yeah, that's your first starting point. Now, we're going to touch on about 4 or 5 different jobs today, which are easy to get into. We'll talk a bit about those jobs. If you do have any questions, send them to us, and we'll try and answer as we go along. Okay, so the first job is one I've mentioned in the past as well, for those who've been following the channel for a while. If you are new to the channel, we're covering it again today for you. Security jobs. So security is such a big sector in the UK. You can't imagine how big of a sector it is. And I think I've had a discussion with 1 or 2 people, and when you suggest security to them, think, oh, I'm not big now. I don't look like a bouncer. How can I do security? It's nothing like that. Like I said, it's such a wide sector. We've got security who stay in bars, clubs. The rules here are much more stricter for companies. So as soon as there's a gathering of more than 10 or 15 people, their license requires them to have some form of security there. Outside of venues like that, we've got jobs that are in stewarding. So like if there was a football match on at the stadium, or you have a concert going on, there are people called stewards who are normally around the venue, all the way sort of from the train station up to that venue. There will be stewards along the way. So if you get lost or you need information, like, you know, I mean, if you're going to a stadium to watch Wizkid, you will see everybody going in that direction. But sometimes you want to know, where's the toilet, or how do I get here? This, that. There's people lined up. And to do those jobs, you need a security license as well. There's security, which we call concierge. These, you see these big, beautiful buildings here. Some are residential, some are for commercial purposes, offices, that sort of thing. You will always have somebody sitting downstairs, directing people where to go, registering people when they come into the building. That's what we call concierge. You would need a security license for that as well. So like I said, it's such a wide sector. We've got CCTV as well. CCTV operators, whether that's for local councils where they give fines for vehicles, whether that's for, you know, security in shops. Another big part of security is people who work in supermarkets like Tesco, Asda. You see, they all have quite a lot of security in every store. So it is a very wide sector, and there are processes to getting into it. This is why we're talking about it today. So the first thing you're going to need to get a security job is an SIA license. Now, an SIA license is sort of a badge you will carry, and that's the first thing you need to do security. To get the SIA license, you have to do an exam for 1 week. a test. You have to take a course for a week, a security course, and at the end of the course, there's an exam. So it's all done within 5 to 7 days. The cost of the course and the exam is usually about £150, somewhere in that range, sometimes up to 200, depends on the company you go with. As soon as you search the area you come into in the UK, search for SIA courses in that area, you will see different courses starting at different weeks. And then you can join any of these courses and start your process of getting it. Now, it's good for us to discuss the cost. There is some cost to getting into security. I'm noticing someone on Instagram talking about £450, and we're going over that. There's definitely a cost. That's why we're telling you about it now, because a lot of people come and then they're not aware of the cost, and then it comes as a shock. It's like, oh, I have to pay this much to get into it. So if you're prepared for it and ready for it, then it becomes so much easier. So you pay for the course, it's £150. Then you have to apply for the badge. So, oh, someone says £290. Okay. It depends on where you take the course, really. I mean, for the security course itself, I've seen some are booked for people for £150. So I know there's some, but it just depends on what area of the country you're in. Sometimes they might not have one for a long time, or it might be slightly more expensive than what you are expecting. Hi, Lillian on YouTube. Thanks for joining. So yes, after that, you need to do your DBS check. So after getting your SIA badge, as part of getting the badge, you have to do your DBS check. And that's something that has a cost to it as well, which could cost anywhere between 200 or something like that. So the total cost will come up to 400, 450 for getting the SIA license, applying for your license, and your DBS. In the scale of things, if you do get a job with that badge, it's a minor cost. I know it looks, when you're changing from naira to pounds, obviously, we're talking of close to 450,000 naira, which is a lot. I understand that, but we have people that have come into the country for 2-3 months, and I'd say, oh, do you have a badge? No. Do you do the, and you're ready to do the security work, but you're not ready to invest in yourself. So look at it as an investment in yourself. The badge doesn't go to waste. Honestly, there's so many jobs that are in a different phase of my life. When I was younger, I used to work for Boots, the opticians. They're like a chemist. And not only was I working in Boots, I was working in a Boots that was in a train station. Now, train stations, airports, those sort of security conscious places, you need SIA badge to work in there. So funny enough, I wasn't doing a security job just because we were working in that shop and we had access to the platforms. And why did we have access to the platform? Just to go and throw the debt away from our shop. That's the only reason but we could enter the trains for free if we wanted to, realistically. But just because we had that extra level of access within the train station, we were required to have badges. So it's not something that goes to waste. Don't see the cost as a limiting factor. And then it opens so many doors, as opposed to you going on these job sites without anything in your hand and just hoping you will get one nice job. Equip yourself with as much things as possible. Now, I've told people as well about international driving licenses as well in the past. We've spoken about international driving license. If you can make your international driving license from Nigeria, it will help with a lot of jobs as well, because a lot of security jobs, as soon as you come, they give you a little car. If it's a construction site, we have security a lot in construction sites, and there's so much building going on in the UK now because we have home shortage. As we're a property channel, many of you would have found that there's not a lot of homes. So everywhere you go, you see they're putting up a lot of houses, flats, quite a lot. There's security that have to patrol these places every day, make sure children don't go into the construction site, make sure nobody's trying to steal the equipment in there. So you'll get one of those jobs and they'll instantly be giving you a car and say you have 5 sites to drive to every couple of hours and check. So if you can't get your international driving license, that's a good one. If you don't know where to get one from, send us a message on the page. We help with processing those as well. And yeah, we can give you a lot more information on that. Now, that's all about security. On YouTube, I've just changed the screen. We're talking about another job, which is child minding. A lot of people tend to think it's for women only. It's not. You could be a child minder as a guy, but we have these preconceived conceptions from Nigeria. And that's another one for security as well. If you're a lady, please don't be put off going for security jobs. Honestly, there are some fields in this country, like, even security, engineering, certain things where they really want women to apply. So don't just think, oh, security is for men, I'm not interested. Same thing with child minding. UK is an equal rights society. Anybody can do any job. And when a certain gender or race or certain things are underrepresented, you'll find employers that actually want to employ women in certain places. So please don't be put off for any job just because of your sex. Okay, so child minding is the next one. That as well, there is a cost to it. The reasons we're talking about these particular courses is we can help you with professional jobs. Now, we have employment support services if you need help with CVs, cover letters, interview training. If you need career guidance, we have job experts. Not myself. I don't class myself as an expert. I give you tips on things I've gone through in life since I've been here. But we have people we work with specially who can help you with those sort of things. So we'll ask you, what was your career in Nigeria? Where do you see yourself going? What do you want to get into? And we can certainly help you on those levels. But these jobs we're discussing this evening are things where you just pay a little bit of money, get a license, and you can start doing things. Now, like for child minding, really brilliant job for people to get into right now, especially ladies, but open to anyone. Taking care of 1, 2, 3 children, it's fine. You can do it just unprofessionally, sort of thing at home. You're helping your relatives' children, that sort of thing, picking them up from school. If you want to build it into a business, there's certain things you need to be aware of. There's certain checks you have to go through. So the same DBS checks we spoke about for security, disclosure and barring service, you would need to go and do these checks. Make sure they're really sensitive around children. So any sexual assaults, like a man beating up his wife, it might be classed as sexual assault. That's how person you won't be able to work in security, in child minding. Same thing for women. If you're constantly hitting on your partner or the term anything, you will be so surprised the things that are termed as sexual assault in this country, things that we just take for granted. So most of us are not in that position because you've just come from Nigeria. So obviously you've got no history here, which is brilliant. So if you did have a bad one, leave it there. But certainly you'd need to do that. The next thing you would need to consider if you're looking at making it into a business is Ofsted registration. Now, I think 2 weeks ago, we spoke about Ofsted and schools. They're the body who rates education, schools, that sort of thing. They're called Ofsted. If you want to turn it into a business, you will have to register with Ofsted. There are 2 levels of registration. Early years, which is from babies, sort of toddlers up to 5. And then the more higher advanced one, which is from 5 to 8 years old. So if you're going to care for children in different categories, you would need to be registered. Also, as some of you who are coming with children are aware, the government provides free childcare for most people in this country for children up to a certain age of nursery. So that free childcare is limited to 15 hours a week. Let's assume now you want to take care of children in the Nigerian community, mothers who go to work, that sort of thing. You will have to be registered with Ofsted, and then you can get the government to pay you that money of that free childcare. So what those parents are entitled to. So it's not, if you really want to make it a business, something that can go somewhere, you will have to do this registration. But obviously, people help take care of children anyway, get paid for a little bit. There are agencies you can register under who make it easier. You don't have to go through the Ofsted process. So if you're registered under a bigger agency, they do all that sort of stuff for you. They will have to visit your home. You will have to have a suitable home to carry this out in as well. So that's just one other one. I know there's a few people coming with older children. So say your children are out at school, your partner is at work. This is such an option, a very good option for you. If you want more information on this child minding, there's a website I'll put on the screen on YouTube. It's gov.uk/become-childminder-nanny. So if you're on YouTube, you'll be able to see that website. You can watch this broadcast afterwards as well. Or you can just search on Google, gov.uk, become childminder. And there's a lot more information there about what you can do, the ages you can take care of, the requirements you need. But a lot of people come in and mothers, so this is a natural thing to you. You just need to learn about safeguarding, things that are important in the UK to know about taking care of children. And I would advise you to take these courses anyway, even if you weren't looking to do it as a business, but you're going to be actively taking care of other people's children. The laws are different here than in Nigeria. There's so much more to certain things you need to know. So it'd be good to just have that experience behind you. Okay, so the next one we're going on to is food delivery jobs. Now, in the last few years, there's been an explosion in the food market in the UK. I'd say in the last 10 years, but especially after COVID, where nobody could go out. If you're here already or you're on the way here, you might be aware. Almost everybody does takeaway in this country. 70% of the country, 1 or 2 nights a week, you will probably eat out. I saw a very lovely debate going on Instagram or one of these blogs the other day, and people were talking about how they have to have their food fresh every day. That is a strictly Nigerian phenomenon. Like, once you get here and you're walking and both partners are working, it's really hard to say you will cook every day of the week. So most times people cook once a week, you store your food for the rest of the week and you have it. Now, you have students here, you have single people that can't get the time to cook. You have, all manner of people doing different shifts of work where it's not convenient to cook. So food is such a big market here in terms of takeaway, that sort of thing. We have 3 big players here: Deliveroo, Just Eat, and Uber Eats. Now, if you know how to ride a bicycle, a motorcycle, or you have your international driving license and a car, this is a sector you can get into very easily. There's not a lot of testing. There's not a lot of checks done in sense of DBS, security checks. They don't do all of that. They'll just employ you because they always need people to deliver food around the areas. We're living in a modern world now. Everything is GPS. You don't need to know the roads. As long as you've got Google Maps and, Waze or one of these map apps, you should be fine. So they pay quite well. They pay you per delivery and sometimes they pay per hour. The conditions didn't used to be great, but they're improving. I think people work for Deliveroo earn on average like £12 an hour, £13 an hour, somewhere in that range if you do quite a lot of work. Even sometimes the weather is bad, it's cold outside, nobody wants to go out to go and buy food or just go to the shop. They'll order their McDonald's on Deliveroo and this sort of thing. So it's one that's very overlooked. I would encourage you to certainly look at the big players in your area, whatever part of the UK you're in when you arrive. See if you can get a food delivery job. If you cannot, sometimes the restaurants as well are not part of these programs and they will have their own individual food delivery service. So it's a good option for anyone looking, especially if you can ride a bicycle. Honestly, you'd be paying almost next to nothing. Now, under delivery as well, there are parcel delivery jobs. So you can work for Amazon, the biggest sort of retailer here. Most families will order 2 or 3 things off Amazon every week. So it's very constant. They always have work for people. If you want to go into Amazon full-time to work as a driver for them, it is quite strict getting in. They do recruitments in different areas through their partners. So they'll have partner companies, and Amazon is a tough job to do if you're doing it full-time. But I really want to focus on things you could do part-time around school because a lot of people are coming to study. So every job we've gone over today are not stuff that requires you to do full-time. And like the food delivery jobs, if you're on these apps like Deliveroo, Just Eat, Uber Eats, they're jobs where you can just log into the app when you feel like walking. If you have 5 hours free this afternoon, you log in, you go do deliveries, pick up food, drop off, that sort of thing. When you're fed up or you're tired, you log out. So there's no hour requirement. There's no fixed shift. You might find in certain areas, in the area where I live in London, there's deliveries going on till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So there's people that will start at 9 or 10, and work a couple of hours. There's people who start at 7 in the morning. So it's flexible in that sense of things. Now, with the parcel delivery jobs, the angle that people need to look at is Amazon Flex. And this is why I keep talking about international driving license and come here with one of those. If you can get access to a car, or if you could buy a small vehicle, you could buy vehicles for even £1,000, £1,000, you could get a vehicle. You can do Amazon Flex. So Amazon Flex is not like Amazon proper, where you have a van and you're delivering like 150 parcels a day. Amazon Flex is designed for smaller deliveries. Like sometimes somebody will order a ring, which is really tiny. They don't need a big, massive van to deliver that. Little packages. And what they do is they get people who have cars, you register on their platform, and then you can pick up 10 or 20 deliveries a day. You can, be done with that in 2 or 3 hours, sort of thing. So it's one you can do in addition to something else. I'm telling you, when you just come out first, if you don't get a straight permanent job, the more of these you are able to tap into, the better. I know people who go do food delivery for a few hours, do Amazon Flex in the afternoon, in the evening they do delivery, this sort of thing. And then you have income constantly coming in from different sources. So it's another one people should consider. Amazon Flex, just go on their website, but you will need access to a vehicle for that one. Some of us are buying cars anyway. I'm helping people who have settled in every sort of week. I'm talking to people about buying cars. So if you've already got a car in the family, it's one you can just use for that and pay off the amount of buying the car, Okay. So also another important one to look at if you've just arrived, not got a permanent job, are temporary jobs in the retail and leisure sector. Now, these are places where they are constantly needing staff. Like I spoke about earlier, I used to work in retail for a period when I was in university. You can always get temporary jobs in retail. It's the easiest sort of way to break into a full-time kind of role. So there's different type of retail. There's retail in the supermarkets, which I've always spoken about. Tesco, Asda, they're big employers. You can work night shift in the big stores. Those are jobs you can find on Universal Jobsearch quite easily, depending on what area in the country you are. There's also jobs in bars, restaurants, that sort of thing. Some of them you can approach directly, but even if you are not sure where to go, and just on YouTube, we put this up on the screen, you need to have the temporary job apps. There are apps you must have where you can pick up a shift. You can see, oh, they have a free shift tomorrow in this restaurant. They think they're going to be busy. They need extra hands to help deliver food. It could be a shopping mall. They need people in the shop to sort of arrange things. So yeah, those job apps are called Flex. Flex is from Indeed, Coople, and Stint. So there's 3 of them, which are quite good at the moment. Now, I'd advise everyone, as soon as you arrive here, download those. Keep checking them every day, see what is in your area. The problem, I won't say problem, but it's a cultural thing. And I've experienced this even when we're booking viewings for people to go view. When we do these sort of job apps where I've helped people in the past, is we tend to turn up late to things. In these temporary job apps, they're very strict with time. So if you pick up a shift for tomorrow and you're not sure of how you're going to get there, if you have a bus pass for the week, I will advise you, take a ride there, go and see how long it takes to get there. Map yourself out very properly on Google, put it in tomorrow's time date when you'll be leaving out. If you think it will take an hour, give yourself hour and a half, 2 hours. It's very frequent that new people to the country, you get lost. And then you turn up 30 minutes late into the shift. They won't have you. And then the app will not give you more shifts. By the time you miss 2 shifts or you're late, I had a lady who we helped her get onto these apps and she got 1 or 2 jobs like that. And by the time she was late for the first one, second one, she didn't turn up, the app will stop sending you jobs. So if you're going to use these things, use them properly. It's the same problem we have with booking and viewings for people. They turn up late, 30 minutes after to the viewing. The estate agent doesn't live by the house. It's not Nigeria. It's not going to wait for you. 5:15 means 5:15. That man's got to go home by 5:30. So if you rock up at 5:30, like, oh, I'm late, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. they don't have time to listen to you. A lot of you that are already here, you're finding out that UK people, they don't have mercy. It's not like Nigeria. You say, oh, I beg, oh, I thank God, beg you. Nobody has time for that because time is precious. That person has 10 properties to show to other people. So whenever you are doing something that's time conscious, please prepare in advance. Don't be leaving out 30 minutes at a time thinking, oh yeah, I'll make it. No, plan yourself out well. It's fine to leave out late, but make sure you know you've got enough time to get there. It's just a good habit, get into places early. They will respect you so much more. Okay, so those are a few of the quick, easy jobs you can get into. If you need help with any of those sort of things or more information, you can always reach out to us. We do offer employment support services, as I have mentioned earlier. So we do help people with getting into jobs, and especially the type of jobs you're not thinking about. So not anything on this list, but professional jobs. If you are trying to get that permanent job, get your foot on the employment ladder, this is certainly something we help with. So please contact us. We will speak to you in detail about those services and what we can offer to you. Okay, so that was quite a long one. It's almost 9:30 now. I'm going to take a few questions. So this can be on property. It can be about jobs, which is today's topic. But if you have anything on property, you need property prices, that's what we do here. We are a property channel. So I'm just going to go on YouTube quickly. If you are watching on Instagram and you do have a question, I do prioritize YouTube questions. So the link is on the bio. Just go in the link and you'll see a direct link to join this on YouTube. But if you've sent it on Instagram, I will come back to that once we're finished. So we've got Lillian saying hello. Thank you for being here. You're here every week. I appreciate you. John Ella, hello. Hi. And you've got a question. Can one get this security job as a student? Certainly. So every job we've spoken about this evening are designed to work for students. It's stuff that will work for you as a student. So if you're a student, certainly take on board all these jobs we've spoken about, security especially, and you can walk around them, sort of thing. Okay, so we've got Bola Akinola. Can you do a video on how to buy a car, please, or a short explanation? Brilliant. Okay, stay tuned. Not tonight, but I will put something up on the channel about that. It's something where I've had a lot of questions and we've supported about 3 or 4 people to buy their first cars now. So certainly something we were going towards, but if there's demand for it, I have no problem making videos along these lines. So yes, we'll give you something in-depth, where to search, what to be looking for when you buy these cars, you know, what to expect in terms of cost. So thank you for that, Bola. Okay, so we have Lord Billa. Hello, good evening. Thanks for joining. That's one of my customers. We're searching for your permanent accommodation now. So thank you for joining the broadcast. So if we have any other questions, please send them through. I'm going to have a quick look through Instagram as well. Just see if we have any questions there. So yeah, you can send through questions on property, on jobs, anything you'd like to know. So that was Jet Winchester. That will cost you $450 to get the badge. It's an investment in yourself. So, you know, it sounds like a lot of money, but the amount of job opportunities it can open for you, like I went through the sectors of security, there's so much you can be doing with that badge. You will make that money back in less than 2 weeks from when you start working. I promise you that. So don't be put off by the price of getting it. It's an investment in yourself. Honestly, your job search will just change. So instead of looking, and one thing you have to be aware of is every job role that comes up in the UK, there's probably thousands of people employed. When I came here 20 years ago, it used to be different. Everywhere you want to work, you go to the shop, you pick your application form, you go home, you fill it. So you had an advantage, a geographical advantage. If you were close by, they will most likely employ you because they will think, this one, he lives 30 minutes away. He can get to work on time. He's not going to be late. Now you don't have that. Now with the explosion of the internet, everything is online. All these jobs, they do their recruitment online. So when you say, oh, I don't want to pay for SIA, let me just keep applying, I will soon see a different job. You know, everyone's thinking like that. So you that invest that money, out of 100 people that come, if 10 people do SIA, they will probably be the first people to get jobs. And you will sit there for another 1-2 months just applying for random jobs. You know what I mean? So I think it's a good investment in yourself. If you can, please do it. So I've got another one for Jet Winchester. Please, is it possible to do this work without NI? I'm not sure why you don't have an NI. I've told this to a lot of people who have just arrived. As soon as you come, make sure you apply for your NI. Please apply for your NI as soon as possible, especially if you're going to be in any accommodation, because it takes about 3 weeks for them to do your NI to a month. So the earlier you apply, the better. In the meantime, and I'm going to put this on screen on YouTube. Sorry, Jet, you've asked this question on Instagram. I'm going to show you what you do for the period where you don't have an NI. And we're putting that on YouTube now. So just give me 2 seconds and I'll have that on the screen. Okay, so in the time where you don't yet have an NI, if you're applying for jobs, you use something called a temporary NI. So if you look on the screen on YouTube now, it says TN, which means temporary number. And then after that, you put the first the days of your date of birth, more or less. So the 2 days, which is the date, the 2 days, that's the month, and the last 2 digits of the year. And you put an A at the end. So that's the format of NI number. So like, I won't tell you mine, but mine it starts with SC, and there's a 6-digit number and A at the end. So instead of you having that SC, which defines what it's linked to your, it's linked to so many things. You know, people have different numbers, but SC is mostly for Black people. People of Black origin tend to have SC. So considering you don't have it yet, what you will use is the temporary number. So it's TN, your date of birth, and A at the end. And just put that on any job application. If they say why, they won't even ask you. They know exactly what it means, what it is. So that's a really good question. And that's on the screen on YouTube for those that are on YouTube. So we've got a few more questions on YouTube. We got Mayo Nagizuvare. Hello, thanks for joining, Mayo. We've been chatting on WhatsApp. You're asking if you're in the country already with a holiday visa and thinking of staying, what are the options? It's a tricky one because you have limited time on a holiday visa. So, I mean, your first ideal thing would be trying to get sponsorship for a job. Another option for you would be looking for, it's mainly because of the time limit that's there, because even if you get a 6 months visa, generally you're not expected to stay more than 180 days. When you applied for the visa, I'm sure you didn't tell them you'll be staying for 100, you know, the whole 6 months, you know? So 6 months is 180 days, sorry. If you apply for a 6 months visa, the sweet spot you need to be in is 90 days. You should be leaving after 3 months. Because if not, next time you apply, say you wanted to do something and it didn't quite go through and you had to go back home and try and come back. If you've stayed 5.5 months out of a 6 months visa, you will find it hard applying next time. You know, they give you a 6 month visa because you say you're coming for holiday for 1 month. So after, think of it like this, you're applying to them. What are you telling them you're coming to do? You're coming on holiday. I want to know London. I want to see the sites. You don't see the sites for 6 months. You have to get into the mind of the immigration officer and these people. How are they thinking? So you've told, I'm coming to see London for the first time. I want to stay with family. I want to enjoy maybe Easter, or you say Christmas. I'm coming to see how London looks like. You don't do that for 6 months. So if you stay that long and you still haven't sorted it out and then you end up overstaying, that's a problem there if you start a process and you're not able to finish it on time. But obviously, the easiest way would be to apply for a job that comes with sponsorship. Now, where that becomes a problem, people who come on a student visa, for instance, they've got the right to work. Only 20 hours, but they actually have the right to work. You coming on a visiting visa, you have no right to work. So to change your visa type to sponsorship, it's quite a difficult step. It's not as easy as it appears on the surface. So yeah, I think we were speaking on WhatsApp, but if you want a bit more information, we can speak about it more. This is just the reasons why you will encounter issues, because you're not even allowed to apply for jobs technically. So how do you apply for a sponsorship job when you're not allowed to work? So in reality, to get that sponsorship, it will be much easier for you to go back home, apply for the sponsorship job for there, and then come back on a sponsorship visa. All right. Okay, I hope that helps, Mayo. We've got Charles Osai on YouTube. I sent you an email about getting an apartment. I saw your email. I don't think you sent an email. I think you sent something on the website and you didn't leave a contact number. So I read it and I didn't know how to get back in contact with you. Follow us on Instagram. You'll get a faster response. Send me a DM on Instagram if you can. You can also send an email. I don't have a problem, but leave us your contact details so we can reply. Because when someone logs onto the website, you know, you think you've sent everything, but then you've not quite sent the details. So we can't get back in contact. I actually remember reading that about 2-3 days ago. So thanks, Charles. I hope you do get back in contact. We can certainly help. I'm going to put our WhatsApp number and other means of contact on the screen now. So if you're still there, Charles, you will see that at the bottom of the screen on YouTube. And that's all the ways you can contact us, much easier than sending an email. Okay. All right. So that's for Charles. We've got Shola Michael. Hello, good evening. Thanks for joining. How do you apply for a care support job? Care support? You mean a care job? You just apply. I mean, it depends on your circumstances. Are you a student? Now, with students, it's quite hard to get care jobs because care jobs tend to be full-time. All the jobs I've spoken about this evening are jobs you can get into easily as a student. So while care is quite an attractive sector in terms of pay, they need you in the afternoons, they need you there all day. Unless you're fortunate to get one with night shifts, like a care home, they are few and far between. Everybody who is coming on care visas, they want the care homes and they can work full-time. So they have a bit of an advantage than you. I don't really encourage students to go for care jobs, to be honest. It's quite intense. It will play havoc with your studies as well. So I'm not too sure, Shola. Come back to me. Tell me how you are here, your current status. If you don't want to share it here, please send me a DM. We can speak more. Send me a message on WhatsApp. The number is scrolling across the screen now, and we can definitely go into more detail for you. All right? Okay. So next one is Nengi Glitz TV. Okay. Hi, Nengi. Please, what's the price range of apartments in East London and Sunderland? So those are two very distinct areas. I'm not sure. I think it's your first time here on YouTube. I'm not too sure if you've been following us. When you ask for prices, kindly tell us the type of house you want. 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. When you just say apartment, there's apartments for 1,000, there's apartment for 4,000. So I wouldn't know where to start. It's such a wide range. We need a bit more information. So tell us the size of property you want and we can help with that. Thank you, Nangi. Hi, Lillian. You say, what's the average pay for security jobs? Most security jobs will pay you between £12 to £20 an hour. So it just depends on what type of security job you have. So if it's just site security, average will be about £15. The ones who work at Tesco, those kind of places, maybe £12-15 in that range. If you're doing concierge, you can get up to £18. If you're doing CCTV, you can get up to £25 an hour. And just on that note, the SIA license for CCTV is slightly different from the normal SIA one, so it's more expensive. But if you invest in yourself and spend that much more, CCTV jobs. UK, London especially, has the most CCTV in the world in terms of cameras, public places. So if you invest that little bit more in yourself, I promise you that there's a load of jobs for you to get in that sector. It's one that a lot of people don't focus on, and maybe a lot of other content creators won't tell you about, but I share my personal experience with you guys all the time. So I promise you, CCTV is a hot ticket. If you go for that SIA license, you would, they're always looking for people, and it pays quite well, Okay. We've got Okpeyemi Ogunkwade. I hope I'm saying that right. What are the apps for quick shift jobs? Okay, I'm going to put that on the screen again for you, Okpeyemi, if you're still there with us, I hope. So that should be coming up on the screen now. So we've got Flex from Indeed, we've got Coople, and we've got Stint. So register on those 3 apps. Make sure you're checking them every day. There will be jobs that pop up in your area. And if you do 1 or 2 very well, more will come. What people don't understand, I know a lot of people have those apps now that are in the UK and they may not be seeing jobs. It's because you keep refusing jobs. If you want to get the jobs and you keep saying, oh, I don't have time, oh, I don't have this, it's automatic. The algorithm will stop showing you jobs. And especially if you turn up late for some jobs or you refuse jobs, you don't go, after a while, they'll just stop showing you jobs. They see you as not being serious. So they'll send it to those who always pick up shifts. So if you see a shift, maybe it says, oh, arranging or maybe something you don't like, just take it. Just try. More good things will start coming after a while. These apps are very popular right now. So there's a lot of people using them. Okay, so I hope you've managed to pick that up, Okpeyemi. They're on the screen now, but I'm going to come off that screen. So I hope you've taken them. It's Flex, Coople, and Stint. Make sure you use the apps well, and the apps will reward you for that. Okay, so we've got Charles again on YouTube. What part of England is best to stay for job opportunities? This is a debate I tell people all the time. There's a balance between jobs and housing. The best place to go for jobs are the bigger cities, London, Manchester, Birmingham. You're very likely to get a job quite easily because these are the bigger populations, there's more opportunities. But at the same time, those are the more expensive places to stay, especially London. Birmingham and Manchester, not so much, but London, the prices are ridiculous at the moment. You can still work in London and live somewhere like Kent and Dartford. You take a train in every day. Thousands of people do that. Hundreds of thousands of people do that. You can live, I beg your pardon, in Essex, any of the surrounding areas of London. But it's always that balance between cost of living and the ease of finding a job. I had a young man who came to London August last year, and he was having problems with paying his school fees. He had to pay about £8,000, and they wouldn't let him start school, all of this kind of thing. And this guy was a real hustler. When I mean someone who, there was a point he was sleeping like 4 hours a night, working 6-7 days a week, and he made it work. Now, I always advise people, don't take that as the standard template. Don't come if you can't pay your school fees. You think within a month or 2, I'll get a job that's paying me so. It can take you 6 months to save that kind of money. It can even take people that have been living here to save £8,000. Even if you have a full-time job here, it's not easy for a year. But when I mean this guy was living on bread and water, every time I would jam him, I would say, come, let's go and eat. I will go and buy him food. So not everybody has that spirit. Not everyone can do it, but it can be done. If you are in these big cities, you can get a job in no time. You can pick up shifts. You can make connections with people. He did everything, construction work. He was doing labor at one time. He was doing, this man, he inspired me. I've been here 20 years and I still got inspired by someone who just came. So, Charles, I hope that answers your question. I do tend to go off on tangents when I'm talking. But yes, it can be done. The best places are the big cities. If you come to London, you're sure to get a job. But on the other hand, how will you live? So if you don't want to pay expensive rent, you want to go to the smaller cities. The cheapest place to get a house in UK now is somewhere in the north. But everyone who I know who has gone there, they're complaining there's no work. So you can get a cheap place, but then you can't work. So We got Mail saying thanks. Okay, Mail. Yeah, please, we'll talk more on WhatsApp. Official mailbox. Hello, Emmanuel. This is Sheon. We've been working on apartments for 2 weeks now in London. Please, I would love to know more about the security and delivery jobs. Yeah, I'm sure you've got my number. Message me after this and we'll talk a bit more, or we can have a call tomorrow at some point. If this is the show I'm thinking about where we're looking for your apartment, yes. But you can watch the start of the show all over again. I don't want to go over everything. Security is a big one to get into. You need SIA and you need your DBS. The earlier you start applying for those. SIA is a 1-week course and there's an exam at the end. So the earlier you start applying for that, the better. And yeah, there's a few others in there, but watch it all over or we'll talk about it later. So yeah, that's shown there. We're searching for an apartment for him. If you're on Instagram, please just click on the link on the bio and you can send your messages on YouTube. I tend to prioritize them, but as soon as I get through the YouTube messages, we will take a few more on Insta. Okay, so we've got Elorita. Please, what is the SIA license about? And for the CCTV job as a student, can I do it? Very likely you can. It depends. There's some that are part-time. There's some with shifts. So like CCTV is 24 hours for most places. There's always someone behind the camera watching. So you can get a night shift somewhere. I have experience of CCTV because I used to work for Lewisham Council in London. And when they started their CCTV department, that was a big thing for us who were already working there and everybody wanted to switch. So they have shifts some places as late as till 10 o'clock at night. You know, you could probably do sort of like afternoon to late, that sort of thing. So there's always opportunities there. You can do it as a student. SIA is compulsory for anybody working in the security or anything with sensitive information. You're going to need an SIA. If you're going to be a childminder, if you're going to be a teacher. So SIA covers quite a lot, but most people that need it are in the security sector. And there's levels of SIA. So if you're thinking of going into CCTV, make sure you choose the right SIA course for CCTV. And you can certainly get into that. That one is a bit longer than 1 week. The basic SIA course is 1 week. That's just to work as a security guard anywhere. Construction sites, Tesco, supermarkets, bars, clubs, joints, they all need security. Stewards for stadiums, football matches, people that do, you know, direct people how to get there and the rest, they all need SIA license. So Elorita, I hope that helps. If you have more questions, you can send them through or you can reach out to us. The contacts are below the screen. Send us a DM on Instagram. We'll normally get back to you quite quickly. Nengi Glitz, thanks. You want a 1-bedroom apartment or studio. So, as I can recall, you were talking of East London, Nengi. Did you say East London? Yes. So you said East London or Sunderland, and you want a studio or 1-bedroom. So in London at the moment, 1-bedrooms are averaging about 1,350. Which is quite a lot. So if you're looking for a studio, you might get one for 1,200. If you're looking for a 1-bedroom, I would aim between 1.3 to 1.4. For Sunderland, is much cheaper. So let's have a quick look for you because I don't have that one off the top of my head, but we're looking for quite a few people in London. So London is quite difficult right now with the 1-bedrooms because everybody wants 1-bedroom. So the demand on that market is quite high. This is the problem. So for Sunderland, you want between a studio and 1 bed. You can get anything from about 550. Yeah. So I'd say between 550, anywhere up to 700 in Sunderland, depending on if you go for a studio or a 1-bedroom. So I hope that helps, Nengi. Let me know. So Lord Billa, for the security job, CCTV, can students do it as well as a part-time job? I think someone asked that a few minutes ago. So yes, you can. In some situations, they will take part-time. But going into that role is a lot of investment upfront. You know, the normal SIA is probably about 450, you can get everything sorted. With security, you'll be spending a lot more than that, maybe close to 1,000. So you want to make sure you can properly do it full time if you can. You can still do it as part-time, but obviously there's fewer places to apply for. If you're lucky, you might get full-time where they give you a fixed shift and you just have evening shifts. CCTV is quite a big sector, so it just depends on what's out there, but it can be done, certainly. And another thing you have to pay attention to is students can only do 20 hours. Does the employer want somebody for only 20 hours? That's the issue as well. They may want full-time person, because what you have to imagine, part-timers, you are generally at a disadvantage because the employer will still need to pay maybe a pension, give you benefits, give you all these other things when they can just get someone who can do it full-time. So the jobs that tend to work well for part-timers are most of the stuff we've spoken about this evening in terms of delivery jobs, app jobs that you can just log on to the app, pick a shift, go out. The delivery ones, you can finish your school, log on to the app, start doing deliveries, delivering food, that sort of thing. When you're tired, you log out. You can do it weekends, it's 24/7 more or less. I think there's deliveries going on 24/7 of the day in London. So you can buy a pizza at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. You can still order pizza to your house if you're hungry. So yeah, for students, these are the ones we focused on this evening. But yeah, CCTV is still an option. It's there. Okay, so we've got Bookie. Can one get a security job as a part-time job while working as a caregiver? Beg your pardon? So you're currently working in care and you're thinking of doing security at the same time. Are you a student? Can you work more than 20 hours? If yes, and you've got the strength, it takes a lot of strength because care on its own is already very intense. Normally care jobs, even if you're getting paid for 8 hours, if you're doing domiciliary, there's sometimes you'll be going around for 12 hours because they don't pay you for the traveling in between the jobs. So you may be out of your house for 12 hours, but you only get 8 hours pay or 6 hours pay, sort of thing. So care is already very intense on its own. Can you load security on there again? They want you alert. Security is not a place you can turn up and have a quick nap. Like, you have to be watching for the danger. So if the watchman is asleep at the gates, we might have a problem there. So it's doable. Do you have the strength to do it? Do you have the time in the day to do it? If you can, there's nothing stopping. And this is an important thing. People come to me all the time. Can I do 2 jobs? Look, when I just came to London the first time, there was a period I used to do 3 jobs. I'd wake up at 4:30. I'd go do a cleaning job in central London, clean offices. And it was this private bank, very nice location. Like, it's a bank only millionaires use. It's not even a bank that's open to the general public. But it was an office cleaning job. I'll do that for 2 hours. I had a car within 6 months of coming to the UK. I tell you people, I share my experience with you. I've had a few people thinking, I don't want to drive. I'm scared. I'm on the other side of the road. You will be used to it in 1 month. Have you seen anywhere more organized than the UK in terms of driving? If you can drive in Oshodi, you can drive in London, honestly. So I was driving in a very short time. I think I bought my first car within 6 or 7 months of arriving. I would race in the morning, go do that cleaning job. I'd race to my main job. I had a job with the council in Lewisham. And that was from 7 till 4 o'clock. And as soon as I would finish at 4, I'd go home for a quick break, 1-2 hours. I had another cleaning job in the evening. I used to go clean some estate agent's office. I did that for like 2 years to save up to achieve 1 or 2 things. So there's nothing stopping you from doing more than 1 job if you are allowed to work full time, if you're not a student with 20-hour restrictions. Do as much as you can, but do you have the determination? Do you have the grit? It takes a lot. If you're a parent, it's going to be very hard. You've got your children to care for as well. You can't just abandon them for 18 hours of the day. I was surviving on like 4 or 5 hours sleep. I was a young man. I was 18 or something when I came here. So I probably couldn't do that now. Break down, to be honest. But, if you can do it, why not? There's no reason. So Bookie, it depends on your grit. It depends on your determination. It depends on finding 2 jobs that fit perfectly for you to be able to do that. But there's no reason not to. An important thing to note with, as soon as you're doing more than 40 hours, your tax rate will go up. So you'll be getting very taxed. So the advice is, if you get one job where they can give you extra hours, it's normally better to do all your work in one place than to try and do 2 jobs, because the tax rate goes up a bit higher once you are getting 2 employers to pay you. So that's something to consider. If you can work for Tesco and they're ready to give you 60 hours a week, why are you going to be killing yourself to run to go to another place and get more work? But it all depends on what you can do. All right. Hope that helps, Buki. Lillian, you said, can I do Amazon Flex for delivery without having a car? No, my dear. It's not one you can do with public transport. The car is a very important part of it. And you'll come to find with the amount of packages they'll give you, they'll probably give you 10 to 20 packages in a day. You can't do it with transport. They want you to have a car. They will ask you so many details about the car. So yeah, even if you don't do it straight away when you come, you can wait for a few months. Like I said, all the jobs we're giving you are just little things you can tap into. You can do 1, you can do 2, you can join them. Some people are coming with children, 2, 3 children, so they are already thinking of buying a car. So if you are in a family where you've already bought a car, why is the car sitting down there doing nothing? Register for Amazon Flex. Let one person be doing that occasionally sometimes, you know? So if you can, you can. But if you need to wait to buy a car, then you have to wait. But anybody who has an international driving license, come with it, because there are some jobs that they will give you car. Not Amazon Flex. Amazon doesn't give you a car, but some will. So it's good to be able to drive. And within that 1 year, don't just rely that you have an international license. Before you stay 6 months, start working on the permanent one, because it takes time to get a license here. It's not like Nigeria. You can't just apply within 1-2 weeks, you have the license. No. You first have to go and do your theory test. To do the test is 1 day. To get the booking for the test can take you 3 months, because the centers are always filled up. They don't have a lot of centers to do them, and the centers are always busy. So you may be waiting 6 weeks just to get into a place to do it. After doing your theory, you have to do your practical. Before you do your practical, you have to take driving lessons. You're going to need, coming from Nigeria, if you've been driving in Nigeria, you need a minimum of 15 to 20 lessons. And one lesson is about £20, £25. The reason I did that when I was young as well, I just came and said, I'm going to do my license, blah, blah, blah. You will fail. We have too many bad habits, you know. Even driving like this with one hand, cruising, young boy. Yeah. I had my own Benz V-Boots in Nigeria. I used to drive before I came to UK, my parents' car. And, you know, we'll put the seat back. No, you need 10 to 2. You have to drive like an old person, like grandmother. And there's something called MSM, mirror. You look, you put on your signal, and then you maneuver. So many little things they'll be looking at you that we are not used to in Nigeria. You will fail if you do it without lessons. You have to take lessons. At a very minimum, you need 10 lessons. And the lessons take time to book. They take money. After you've done the lessons as well, you will now start looking for space to book for your practical. So all in all, the cost of a driving license can be up to £600, because each of these tests you're booking, theory is about £50 to book, or £60, somewhere in that range. When I checked last, it used to be, but things are going up every day. The lessons, £25 per lesson. If you have to take 10, that's £250. If you have to take 20, that's £500. Then you have to book the practical as well. And after that, you have to apply for the license. So easily, you can spend £600-700 on driving license. This is why I tell people, do not leave Nigeria without your international driving license. The fact that they give you 1 year to drive without being licensed is gold dust. Don't come without it. Come with it. You will see it will help open some doors for you. So Lillian, I hope that answers your question. You can't do flex without a car. You need a car, unfortunately. Kehinde Yusuf, thank you for joining. Please, how do I get the SIA license? What are the requirements? We covered this at the start of the show. I think you joined late. For SIA, you need to take an exam. You need to do a training course. The course is 1 week. At the end of the week course, there's an exam. You pay for it together. So if you pay £150 for the course, it comes with the exam. You do the exam. Once you pass the exam, you have to apply for your badge. The badge is about 250 or 300. I'm not too sure of the price now. I would actually check that for you. But you apply for the badge, and then part of the application, you're going to need to do your DBS. So they have to check to make sure your name is clean. You have no, because security is a safety conscious sector. So you can't have no criminal history. Like people that have been criminals here, they check for all those things. As long as you're just coming from Nigeria, you have no criminal history. So don't worry about all of that. They need to check your last 5 years address. I've had people I've helped in the past coming back and asking, they're asking for 5 years address. I don't have, put your Nigerian address, it's fine. They don't go and check, but they need to know where you've been for the last 5 years. So those are the requirements for SIA. It's quite easy to get. It's an investment. And like I've told people earlier this evening, it seems like a big amount. If you are just still in Nigeria planning to come, you want to give yourself advantage, plan that extra £500 for SIA. It will open so many doors for you. There are people sitting at home now and there's security jobs on apps. They cannot apply for them because they don't have the badge. Then when they come, they're spending money on Airbnb. It's like, I never get house, or I can't use this money for SIA. Just budget it now. As soon as you come, start on it. Honestly, it's an investment in yourself. I tell people this all the time. And there's a lot of us coming, so you want to give yourself the best chance possible and be on time. Okay, so Kende, I hope that helps. Tracy on you, please, how soon can you help me get a house in London? I'll be honest with you, if you're coming to London, budget for up to a month in temporary accommodation. We can probably get you something within 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Sometimes it's taking up to a month now. Every day is getting more difficult because there's less houses, there's more people coming. It's getting tighter and tighter. You will start viewing places. So I have 2 clients now in London searching. I think Sean was on here earlier. He has been to about 7 or 8 places to view. I have another client called Mr. Ugo. He has viewed more than 10 or 15 places. And the problem is, what people don't understand about the housing market here is in Nigeria, you may be pricing the house or looking for one that fits your budget. Here is like auction because there is more people looking than available houses. There was a news article last week for a house in East London. 60 people turned up to look at the house, 60 families. They were queuing. There was a queue from the front of the house down the block, people queuing for more than 30 minutes just to get inside and look. Now that house may be advertised for 1,200. The person that will end up getting the house, maybe he will make an offer of 1.5 or 1.4 because everybody wants it. So one person will say, landlord, you want 1.2? Me, I will give you 1.3. Don't answer everybody else. Another one will say, give me this, give me that. So the budget is one thing. The auction system or the system of offers, because that's what they call it. They will take up to 5 or 10 offers to the landlord and say, these are the offers we got. You know, out of those 60 people, the estate agents will cut down about 50. Like, okay, you don't have enough. You are not earning enough. You are offering the asking price, so we're not even going to give you attention. The ones who offer slightly more, £50 more, £100 more, £200 more, those are the ones that will make it to the front of the landlord. Then the landlord will now look, oh, this one, they have 3 children. Children might be running around, though. They may damage my walls. I don't want that one. This one has 1 child. Or this one, they are single, no children. So this is how it works in the background, and people don't understand, you know. A lot of people in Nigeria, you go on Rightmove, you see 10 properties inside the money, you say, can I get it from Nigeria? There's 60 people queuing up here looking, they never get. It's ridiculous in London right now. So I tell you, budget enough time for Airbnb. I'm not saying that in a negative way. Some people are getting it in 2 weeks. Some are getting it in 3 weeks. Some are getting 4 weeks. It depends on the part of London. I had a lady who was looking, I said this last week, anybody who joined last week, in a very expensive, nice place of London. She said, I don't want to live where Nigerians live. She has been on it for 6 weeks now. Her eye is starting to come down. She told us last week, okay, check for in the Nigeria area. Because that's where you will see people that, you know, want you. In that process of 60 people looking, do you know how many of these houses you are going to and the landlord is a racist? He won't tell you now. He won't tell you, just say, oh, black name, throw it to one side. So don't put your expectation too high. I think that was the video we put out last week about don't being too picky. So if you've seen that on the channel, these are the things we're talking about. So Tracy, there's no definite date. But I would budget for at least a month in temporary accommodation at the very least. Oluwaseun Ojo, hello, can anyone on health and care visa with the work with the delivery apps you mentioned earlier at leisure if he owns a car, please? Certainly, yes. So if you're on a health and care visa, what is happening now is so many people are coming for care. Sometimes there's not enough hours to give you. So they may only give you 4-hour shift in a day. Or they may give you 2 or 3 clients. That's all they have for that day. I beg your pardon, everyone. So, yeah, when you add these little things, you can start to balance yourself. Don't wait for the care job or the COS you go from Nigeria. Sometimes they don't have work for you. COS is just for you to get into the country and you get here. A lot of people say, COS, no accommodation, no car. You think they're going to furnish your whole life. That was at the beginning, That was at the beginning when things were still tough. Now, do you know how many people are applying for COS every week? Do you know how many, I personally know, being processed? So go to the airport in Lagos. You can see how many people are jumping on the planes every week. So many people are coming for COS. It's getting to a point that there's no job left for people. So you need all these other little things to supplement yourself. And the money that they even pay for COS, even if they can give you full-time job, it's 21,000 a year. I will tell you that money sounds like a lot in Nigeria. It is nothing here. If you're in a city like London, 21,000 is poverty wages. Let me be realistic with you. It's not money that can do much for you. 21,000 20 years ago when I came, when I was working for Lewisham Council, they promoted me from being a normal assistant to supervisor. I thought I was on top of the world. Now, 21,000 means nothing because everything, inflation in those 20 years is more than doubled or 3 times of what it was. In those days, you could go to Tesco. If you spend £50, you're coming back home with 4 bags. Now you spend £50, 1 bag is not even full up yet. So, first of all, even if you could get the full hours, what they are paying is very, very low. It's not a lot. So you may still need supplemental, and then they don't have hours for everybody. Only some companies can give you all those hours. So please feel free, take from what we've given here, improve your chances. So we got Charles saying thanks. Thank you for joining. Tracy, I didn't skip your question. You asked about London. I think I took a while to get to it. I hope you've gotten the answer now. So I'll move on from that one. Chukudi Ejogu. Hello, sir. You have really paid your dues in the UK. On the lighter note, are you a British citizen now? I was a British citizen from birth. So I was born in the UK. I was here till I was about 4. My mom took me back to Nigeria when I was 4 because she was starting a hotel there. We had a really popular hotel in some part of Lagos. So I grew up from about 4 till 19 in Nigeria. And I was supposed to start my university there, and I said I've had enough of Nigeria. So I escaped, and my own jackpot was very, very early. About 20 years ago, I came back to live here. So I've always been a British citizen, but I've never had the British citizen mentality. Even people laugh at me and say, "Where's your accent?" I said, "No, I like to rock with my Nigerian people. When I'm with Nigerians, you should hear me rapping. Like, I don't put myself on a pedestal or try to act like I'm above everybody else. I like to really blend with people." And I've seen, maybe from an advantage part of life, like I always knew I could leave Nigeria, but I've been in places, and you might see my thing there. I went to military school in Zaria, Nigerian military school. So I went through the hardest kind of life you can go through in Nigeria. I was trained. I was a soldier in the Nigerian army for 2 years. I was serving in 2 divisions in Ibadan, or Jaw cantonment. So I actually was a soldier standing at the gates with rifles. So I did all of that. And it gave me such a brilliant outlook on life, where coming back here, I could, vibe on this side. And it's like why I started this business is when I saw a lot of people coming over and how they were struggling. It took me back to my beginnings as well. And it's like, okay, we have tips. We can help these people. We can do things for people. So a bit of history that you didn't ask for, but just in case you were wondering, yes, I was born a British citizen. All my family was grew up here. All my siblings grew up here. I was the only child who came back to Nigeria to grow up because my mom was scared that she's lost all her children to British culture. And this is something I tell people as well. If you have children here, make sure they go back to Nigeria. It's a really brilliant experience. You know, I know a lot of us are jackpot and saying, we want the best life for our children. We want things to be better than it was for us. I have family that grew up here who don't know Nigeria. I have brothers and sisters that have been to Nigeria maybe once in their life for a wedding or this or that. And they are lost. They are lost children. You know, they look at me and say, you know, they're even jealous of me. Like, you can go to Lagos and go to Mushin, go to Surulere, blend in the hood. I'll go anywhere in Nigeria, that sort of thing. So, yes, Chukudi, just hopefully that gave you a bit of insight on where I'm from. Okay, thank you. So, John Ella, how much does it cost for the CCTV SIA license? Okay, so that's a interesting question because I have not looked that up in a while. So let's just have a look for you. So, in terms of the training, it's still quite cheap. It's about £190, I can see, for some operators. In terms of the license, so the training itself is not very different from the normal one. It's when you apply for the badge. The badge is different. So even that is not so much expensive, to be honest. I'm seeing prices for under £300. Yeah. So even applying for the badge is not that expensive. So if you have the opportunity to go for the CCTV one, I would advise you to go for that. It just opens up a lot more doors. Sorry if I'm holding you guys back. I'm just trying to get a bit more information on the fees. Okay. So I don't have an exact price for you, unfortunately. But contact me after this and I will look it up for you. Yeah, I'm always looking up stuff for people. So please just message me on Insta or somewhere, or WhatsApp probably is even faster because Insta, there's so many people that run our account. Sometimes you don't get me on Instagram. But if you want to speak to me directly, come through WhatsApp. The number is on the screen and I'll always be here to help you guys with that. Okay, so we've got Chukudi. I'm sorry on Instagram, I've not found time to catch up with the messages there. If you're on Instagram and you have a pressing message, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you guys. But please click on the link in the bio. It will bring you to YouTube. And then I can see your question on the screen and everybody can sort of learn from that. But I will still come back and pick a few from there, please. Chukudi Ejiogu. And also, what do you think about doing Uber in the UK? Okay, so the barriers to Uber is a good option if you can get it. The barriers are the car. Now, when I'm telling you, you need a car in London for Amazon Flex, they don't check the age of the car. For Uber, because you are carrying passengers, you need a car that is less than 5 years old. You need a car that is compliant because Uber is moving away from petrol cars. So most of their cars here are hybrid, like a mix of electric and petrol, because UK has all these standards about emissions, all of that. And imagine a cab is on the road all day. So the buses in London, most of them now, they're half electric, half petrol. So they don't give off as much, you know, it's not like Nigeria, the Molo or BRT blowing off black smoke. They don't allow that here because these are the vehicles that are on the road the most. Private people, how many times are you driving? You drive to work, you drive home, you drive to the supermarket, that's the end. But once you are working for Uber, there's a lot of restrictions on the type of vehicle you can have. It has to be less than 5 years old. Now, you're talking of vehicles in the range of £20,000. Can you afford that as a new arrival? And if you want to take it on credit, which is what most of the drivers here, they don't pay cash, they get finance. You don't have credit history yet, so they may not yet give you a car. So, you know, Uber is a brilliant option. If you have a family member that can take a car for you and you'll be paying them monthly, some cars on finance may be £350 to £400 a month. If you can get a car that is up to the standard for them, you can do it. But I always try and structure all my advice for you guys as somebody who is just coming. I beg your pardon. Okay, so Chukwudi, I hope that helps. Sometimes you might have family here that can help you take the car and you pay them back as a loan. Then that is good. Uber is an option. Another thing, I don't think you can do Uber with international driving license. So that will be another restriction. So technically, if you want to do Uber, you would need to start work on your British license as soon as arriving, which can take you up to 6 months. So it's a long investment. Uber takes a lot of the driver's commission here. So I don't know what it is in Nigeria now. I remember my friend wanted me to help him buy a car. I did about 5 years ago in Nigeria. He couldn't balance me. But in the end, he's my childhood friend, so I didn't press him. But in Nigeria, Uber was taking about 20 or 25%. Here, they take about 35 to 40% of your earnings. You started low, and as they get more drivers, they raise the percentage they're taking. So it's very hard. If you buy the car from Uber, they got you like a slave. They portray it like, oh, you can walk anytime you want. But remember, you have to pay back the car fees every month, which can be up to £600. So you have to work to get that first £600 before you are even making money. And it will be the same thing if you take a friend to get it. So it's just because of the standard of car you need. They don't allow just any car here, you know. So I hope that helps, Chukwudi. Charles, I need a 3-bedroom apartment in Kettering for June. Okay, so Kettering, Northamptonshire is in England. You will need to be here to get the house. We can't get it for you from Nigeria. Only if you are in Wales, Scotland, or Northern Ireland can we help from Nigeria. If you are here, you will need, if you are in England, you will need to be here to get the house and also to do viewings. I've covered this in past shows. It's very difficult to get a house for you when you are not here. The owners of the house want to meet you as well. They want to know information about you. You may come, even if it's possible to get the house. I covered something last week on how a man with asthma ended up with a house with mold. And he from day one, he got there. When he was on the phone to me, he couldn't breathe. And that's the house he has paid 1 or 2 months for. So he's stuck. They refuse to give him his money back. How does that affect his breathing and everything? So it's very tricky to get it from Nigeria now, if I'm honest. It might not be up to your standards. They may want to meet you. So many reasons why we can't do it. There's also the biggest point of all is right to rent. I don't know if I have this on a banner somewhere. You need your right to rent done. So you can't do it from Nigeria. You have to come on the government website here. And I'm going to put it up for you. It's called right to rent. So right to rent. If you search for that on, it's gov.uk/right to rent. Just put right to rent UK in Google. It will come up with the right site. You need to fill that in because it gives you a code. And that code is what you give estate agents and landlords. Just having a visa to the UK does not give you the right to rent a house in the UK. A lot of people don't know this. You understand? You still need to fill out this right to rent, especially for England, not for Scotland. That's why we can try it in the other places, but not in England. You need right to rent. You're supposed to be able to fill it with your passport, but it does not recognize Nigerian passports. Don't ask me why. We've been battling with it for months. I think because British passports, they only have numbers in them. There's no letters. Whereas Nigerian passports, it will have like A at the start in your passport number. So the site doesn't recognize Nigerian passports. So you can't do it with your visa. You have to get here. You have to get your biometric card from the post office the first day you arrive or the second day. And when you get the biometric, you go on that site and you fill it in. And then you can start doing things. Other than that, you're not going to be able to rent. So I hope that helps. That was for Charles Osai. So yeah, contact us. We'll tell you what to do before June. We'll get you ready for the process. Where you are going is not a high pressure area. So you should be able to get a house in less than 2 weeks. But the right to rent is our biggest obstacle to overcome. All right. So prepare for Airbnb for 2 weeks at least. We've got Okweyemi Okunade. Thank you for staying with the broadcast. Please, is the international driving license different from the regular one? Yes, it is. I think your regular ones issued by the states, isn't it? Like Lagos State, Ogun State. I'm not too sure. It's been such a long time I had the Nigerian license. But yeah, it's a different type of license. If you need more information on it, please send me a DM and I will talk you through. We also have people in Lagos that process this. So if you need help with that, we can certainly help you with that. We've got Fair Gemade. I can't find your website. Where's the best place to see all of your range of services in one place? The best place, most interactive, is on Instagram. We do have a website. We have not launched the website yet, but it's there. If you want to go and read about stuff or see information, I'm putting it on the screen now. Fair. So it's softlandings.uk. It's a weird one. There's no .com there. It's just softlandings.uk. So we're Soft Landings UK. Just put a dot in the middle, and that's our website. So you can certainly see stuff we do. You can fill in forms there for contact. We'll contact you back, and you can see all the stuff we do on there. But if you need an instant response, kind of fast, message me on WhatsApp. It's scrolling across the screen now. I will always be the one answering the WhatsApp. I do try and provide an instant service. It's not always possible. And sometimes people are messaging me at 1 a.m. I'm not going to be there. I still have to sleep, wake up and eat and come back to you. So it's a one-man thing on that WhatsApp. It's not, but Instagram, I have people helping out there. So one of our agents will definitely get back in touch with you. But that's the website, softlandings.uk. We are having a big launch in a few weeks' time. This is why we're not yet emphasizing on it. But you can see quite a lot now. Anyway, it's all live. It's ready to go. Okay, so we've got Okandeji Hamed. Please rent for a 2-bed in Hall. We'll be in the region of what? Okay, that brings us back to property, our bread and butter. Give me a second. Now, Hall is one of the areas we're advising people to start early. There's been a big problem in Hall in the last 6 months. So there's not a lot of available houses. And it's one of the areas we are encouraging people to start getting in contact from Nigeria. I know I just said a lot of stuff for somebody saying we cannot do it. But if you're coming to Hall, contact us on time. If you're coming in September, start now for Hall. We can probably get you something there. The reason why is the high pressure areas, they don't have houses available now, but they are already advertising September houses. So if you start now, you got your leg in the door. We can do all the processes up to the right to rent stage. And then when you come, we just do that last bit and then it's done. But let's get you prices first of all. Sorry, 2-bedroom you wanted. Okay. Okay, for Hall, you'll be looking somewhere in the region of 600 to about 800 on average. 600 to 800. There's some that go all the way to 950. Beg your pardon, but just the average. Okandeji, so I hope that helps. I beg your pardon. And then we've got Jennifer Oluchi. How much is a 2-bed flat in Scotland? That's like me asking you how much is a 2-bed flat in Nigeria. What part of Scotland, please? Give us a bit of specific. Tell us the city. It might be Glasgow, you might be Aberdeen. It's a big country. Come back with more information, Jennifer. We'll be able to help with that. Chukudi Ejiogu. If you get the SIA for CCTV jobs, can you use it for regular jobs too? Yes, you can. So it's the higher level. The first level of SIA is called door supervisor. So those are people standing outside the door at the club. Those are the people, you know, door supervisor. It kind of covers it in that word. That's the first level. The CCTV is the higher level. So anything higher can do the lower ones, but the lower can't do the higher. So you should be able to do door supervisor with a CCTV license. It covers all the basics plus CCTV. Okay, I hope that helps, Chukudi. Adewale Eyowu. Is it possible to get a driver to drive Uber in UK? It's not like Nigeria. It's totally different. And I think I put that out last week. Nigerian standards and UK standards are different. I had a friend who came from Nigeria a few months ago. and he used to have a good government job. He worked for EFCC in Nigeria, in Abuja. Had a brilliant job. So obviously, you know, when you work for the government in Nigeria, you got a driver, you have a car. And he came, he was like, oh, if I get a job, he has a brilliant job here now. We helped him, and he's working in a good industry. His job almost pays as much as mine with my 20-year experience. But yes, he was asking, oh, would they give me a driver at work? I said, oh, God, where do you think you are? You have to look at the scale of wages here. How much do you earn to be able to pay another person's wages? You have to earn quite a lot to pay wages, you know, because the basic minimum wage is somewhere around 20,000, 18,000 a year, 20,000. So you have to know that you are making 100,000 to be able to pay 20 as wages. And then most people individually, they earn between 20, 30, 40. As a newcomer, you can't really earn more than 35 to 40, to be honest, unless you're a doctor. So how are you going to get enough to pay someone to go and do Uber? Also, if you listen to me while I was talking to somebody, the car is a big factor. So the Uber driver can probably generate about 1,000 something a month, maybe 2,000. You're paying for the car 500 or 600. You understand? You have to pay that driver a living wage. So it's not like Nigeria, they can just do and, you know, come and submit at the end of the day. Like you say, okay, every month you pay me so and so, you will submit. It doesn't work like that here. Because that person has to get a living wage, a rate that is enough for them to live on, which will be about £10 an hour. And this man has been in the car all day long. It might be possible you may only be making £100 a month or 200. In fact, the amount of stress into it, I don't even know if it's viable, to be honest. It's a different system. You can't have house girls here. You can't have this cheap labor. We enjoy a lot of cheap labor in Nigeria. This is why I want to go and live in Nigeria. Everything is done for you. Life is hard here. You have to do everything for yourself. Even your normal childcare, just for someone to take care of your child for a few hours a day while you come from work or this or that, you will be shelling out a lot of money. Childcare is so expensive that for some people, it's not profitable for them to work as the lady or the main child person with child responsibilities in the house. It gets to a point where you're paying so much, it's just like everything you are working is just going to pay childcare. So there's a lot of factors that are different from here in Nigeria. These are the things we need to get our mind attuned to. It's not just how it is there. I wish it was. It's not. I was telling this, my friend, I was talking about the car. Even the people, the members of parliament, the equivalent to senator, they come to work on their public transport. Maybe only the prime minister, the speaker of the house, they are not up to 10 that have drivers to drive them. Most of them, you can go to their office. Your member of parliament for your area, you can go to his office anytime, book in and talk to them. They are normal people like you. They take train and bus to go to work. How much less you will now employ a driver for yourself? I'm not being disrespectful by laughing, but it's really different here. It's, you know, you have to pay people a living wage. So you yourself has to be earning, and the more you earn here, the more tax they take. So if you are earning under 40,000, that's where it changes, 40 to 45,000. Anything under that, you are taxed 20% of your tax, 22% is what you pay as tax. As soon as you earn above 45,000 to 150,000, they can take up to 40% of your wages. So imagine you are on 100,000. The government will take 40,000 first of all for tax. You are left with 60. You that is earning 100,000, you want to live 100,000 lifestyle. So you're not going to be in a rugged house. You're going to be where your level is. There's so many other things. So you don't really have 25,000 to now pay another person. You can't really pay somebody, half of what you are left with. What's the point? So it's totally different here. David Ojechi, thank you for joining. Please, which city or area is affordable in terms of rent in London? I would say go for Dartford. Dartford is outskirts of London, is Kent. That's a good place to live. You can live in parts of Essex as well, where they are cheaper than London. If you want to be in London proper, Think of Woolwich, think of Abbeywood, think of Plumstead, think of Sidcup. These are areas where a lot of Nigerians live now because they used to be cheap. They are getting expensive now. They're not as cheap as they used to be, but other places you can consider in the east, Barking and Dagenham, Ilford, they're slightly cheaper than Central London, slightly. I hope that helps. David Ojechi, how much is Airbnb? I beg your pardon. Airbnb depends on the part of London you're coming to. It can be as much as £70 a night on average. Some cheaper parts, if you take a room in a shared house, there are some parts of outer London you can get about £40-50 a night. If you're in central London, you'll be looking at anything between £70 to £100 per night. So it's quite expensive, Airbnb. You should budget at the minimum about £500 a week. You would not get a lot of places less than 500 a week. And that could be a room. It might not even be a studio flat. Some studio flats you may get for 600, 700 a week. So it depends on how many people. Okay, so Charles Osai, you say you just answered my question. I forgot to add that I have my BRP. I also have right to rent and NIN. The problem is the credit rating, which seems to be a requirement. Okay, so I'm just trying to remember your first question. I'm sorry, I'm going back a bit. You need a 3-bedroom in Kettering for Nottinghamshire. So, yeah. When you say you have your BRP, do you mean you have the card or you have the letter, your biometric letter? They're two different things, you know. So you might have your biometric, everybody has that, but there's a card you get on arrival. Are you saying you have that card already? Oh, you say you have your right to rent, so I'm assuming you have the card. If you've done your right to rent, you have the card. Okay, that's good. We can probably help you. It's not definite because, like I said, the landlord and the people want to meet you as well. If you definitely want to go for it, you have to be convincing them with something like you're paying 3 or 6 months rent upfront because you are in competition with people that are already here and able to view. And plus, if you are looking for a place in June, I know you are trying to get ahead of the curve. The property market here is so hot. Properties don't stay on the market for more than a week or two. As soon as it comes, if you don't call the estate agent within a day or 2 or 3 days, it's gone. They are filled up the book viewings and, you know, somebody will make an offer within a few days. So they're not going to wait for your rents to start in June. So even if you get it now, you have to be prepared to pay for all of April and all of May. So I understand what you're trying to be early and ahead of the thing, but are you ready to pay 2 months where you are not there? Because they won't wait. They have people ready to pay to move in now. It's not like Nigerian market. It's totally different. It's a very heated market. So you literally need to be here. But message me for more details. Since you have the right to rent, you are in a good position. You're in a good position. But these other things, you know, then no landlord is going to have a house empty for 2 months when it can be generating money. It's very unlikely, you know? So if you're ready to pay for it to be empty for 2 months till you come, it's possible. All right, so we've got Glam Kids. Is Derby a high pressure area? Not to my knowledge. So far, Derby is good. Derby is cheap. So if you're going to Derby, you're in a bit of luck. Joseph Monday, can a family of 5 parents and 3 boys rent a 2-bedroom flat? 3 boys. Technically, no. Technically, no. But send us a message. There's ways to get around these things. Okay. Jennifer Oluchi, what's the range of 2-bedroom flats in Scotland, Edinburgh, and the Scottish borders? Okay. So you've come back with more detail. Thank you so much for that. Edinburgh, you want? And you want a 2-bedroom in Edinburgh. Okay. So you're looking on average about $950 a month. So there's a few for 850. There's quite a lot for 1,000 plus, up to 1,100. Yeah, I'd say about 1,100. There's very few under 1,000, less than 5 or 7, and you probably won't get those because there's a lot of competition. So I would aim for 1,100 a month for a 2-bedroom in Edinburgh. For the Scottish brothers, is much cheaper. So we're looking at 650 as an average. There's a few for 550. There's some up to 750. So average, I would say in between is 650 for Scottish brothers. I hope that helps, Oluchi. How possible is it to get jobs in Edinburgh and Scottish borders? You've come with the next question. Not great. Not great. Edinburgh, fine, because that's a busy city. Scottish borders, no. You're going to struggle in Scottish borders unless you are in a profession like nursing or something specific where they need to have you there. A lot of people who live there, they run out of there and come to the bigger cities. So that's the thing we're doing. A lot of Nigerians, I see, we're going to the cheaper places, but the British people that own those places are running to London and the rest because they know there's nothing there. That's why the houses are cheap. That's why, so you have to weigh it up. House versus job. Will I get a job in this area? I might be paying half of the rent of somebody in London, but will I get the money to even pay the rent? So don't confine yourself to these. I see people going to some places and I'm just like, oh my God, what are you going to do there? So Jennifer, one more. Can a couple rent 1-bedroom flat, no kids? Yes, you can. So I hope that helps, Jennifer. We've got Adebola and Musa. A company gave me COS and you were told they don't have work for us. They said I can switch if I have any company that wants to switch the COS or hire me. It's something that people are doing. If you heard me earlier on in the show, a lot of people are getting this COS. Don't bank on it that, all your needs are provided because you have somebody inviting you. A lot of time, they don't have the work for you. So yes, you can switch. You can find another company that can give you sponsorship. You can still stay with them under that sponsorship and get other jobs that you can pick up, like the jobs we started with this evening. If you weren't here earlier, go back and watch the show. It will be on the channel a few minutes after we end, and you can start over from the beginning and watch it. So you follow that up with a question. My question is, if I don't want to work with them again, hope it won't affect my renewal. So that's something you can discuss with them. They can continue to sponsor you and give you a certain amount of hours while you do other jobs to supplement your income. Legally, yes, you can do that. I wouldn't give you anything that's not legal and above board. So any questions that are a bit tricky, don't send them to me on live shows. Message me and we can go into more detail with you. But you can get a few hours from them and supplement your work, supplement it with other jobs, part-time jobs, gig jobs, you can do other things and you should be fine. It doesn't affect your sponsorship. As long as you are still under them and you are still doing some work for them, that's fine. We got Nosa Devu. I think I've seen that name before. Hello, thanks for joining. How about a place like Bournemouth? Is accommodation expensive? It's not too expensive, but it's hard to get. I have a customer in Bournemouth. She's been going over it for a few weeks. It's quite tricky out there because it's a small seaside town. There's not a lot of houses available. And it used to be a place people just within the UK go for holiday, see the sea in the summer, and they come out. So it's a lot of temporary accommodation there, not permanent. So if you have a choice, I wouldn't go for these small coastal cities. They're for holiday makers. They are not designed to take a lot of people. This is the problem people are facing in Portsmouth and Hull. This is the problem people are facing in all these sort of areas. There are places where British people go in the summertime when they can't afford to travel to other countries. They have 1-2 weeks, they enjoy. So all you will get there is temporary accommodation. They don't have a lot of houses. So we've got Due Time, Chuko Emeke. Hello, thanks for your efforts. Thank you for joining. That's what we're here for. Please, can I get a job as a web developer, as a freelancer, if possible? Certainly. There's websites like Fiverr. You can even start doing that from Nigeria now if you want to. A lot of Nigerians are on Fiverr, and you can offer your services that way. There's other things here you can do as well to improve your chances of getting jobs in that line. You can register with back.com. There's websites specially designed for people in IT as well. So if you need more information on that, send us a message. We can help with that. We've got David Ojechi. Thank you so much for your response. Please, I wish to transition into IT. Are there places or organizations I can take and register for certifications on cyber security since I am new to this field? If you've got the money to pay, you can certainly take them. IT qualifications tend to be on the higher side, especially if you take them here. If you're still in Nigeria, take anything you can take over there. It's the same equivalent. There's no difference. And you will probably find this cheaper over there. Courses are quite expensive, yeah. Even people who live here sometimes have to take loans and pay back slowly. So if you can do it and you're still in Nigeria, go to these places who do it. They'll be so much more cheaper. We've got Femi Willie. Thanks for joining. Thank you for this informative session. I need a place in Portsmouth against September. Can I get a studio or one bedroom for a family of 3? Do you think that's feasible, or will I need more rooms? How old is your child? I think that's the question. If they're a toddler or an infant, you can get away with a 1 bedroom. Certainly not a studio. Certainly not a studio. Some studios specify that they only want single people. Some will take a couple, but with a child, you will struggle. It will be such a tight fit. I've said this on this channel quite a lot of times. The way they build houses here, totally different from Nigeria, you know? The building patterns are so small, everything is so tiny, you know, you won't enjoy it quite a lot. You think you're saving money, and it's a country where you can't get out most of the year. Half of the year you're stuck indoors. It starts to wind you up. You will need a 1 bedroom at the very minimum. Depending on your child's age, you might be able to get away with 1 bedroom. If they are over 5 or 8, some landlords will not accept that. They will need you to take 2 beds. So it just depends if your child can still stay in the room with you. Jennifer Oluchi, I think I've answered that question. So I hope, oh, you said 1 bed this time. Okay, so for 1 bed, Scottish borders, you're looking 450 to 550, and there's not a lot of them. I'm looking on the site now, and there's only 3 properties coming up. So that will be high pressure for that area. That will be quite high pressure for that area because there's not a lot. And now those 3, you will struggle to get one of them. So we'll check Edinburgh for you as well quickly. Edinburgh, 1 bedrooms. Yes, just from experience, because I helped someone there a few months ago. Well, February, so a few months ago. It's not been that long. You'll be looking at 650, 700, all the way up to 800. So just depends on the one. Like I said earlier in the show, get ready to bid more if you're going to get properties. Don't go for the lowest price. Honestly, you will be doing yourself a disservice. People are bidding higher, you know, people are bidding a lot. Some of the people you are bidding against, they live here, they work here, they have jobs, they have pay slips, they have all of this to present. You have just come into the country, so you're probably going to get one on the higher side, not the lower side. I'm sorry to keep telling people this. They don't like to hear it. You know, you want the lowest property on the market, you're probably not going to get it. So when I give you an average, try to look at the middle to higher part of it, not the lowest bit. Okay. Glam Kids, can you assist my spouse in getting a DevOps engineering job? Yes, we certainly can. That will be one for our jobs experts. Send us a message. We can help in all those sort of fields. And definitely, we can help with that. Agbolade Rebecca, thank you for joining. Hello, thank you for your time. Please, how much does it cost to rent a studio apartment, 1 bedroom, shared apartment in Middlesbrough Teesside? Also, can someone land a data entry role? So that's a lot of questions in one. 1 bedroom is different from shared apartment. So let's get that one clear first of all. A shared apartment means you get 1 room in a shared house. You share the kitchen and the bathroom with somebody else in a different room. Studio means self-contained. So it's one room, but it will be attached to a bathroom and a kitchenette, small kind of kitchen area. And one bedroom flat, you have your room, you have your parlor, you have your kitchen and your thing to yourself. So you've given me 3 different types of property, which will be a bit tricky to check all in one. But I'll tell you off the top of my head, Middlesbrough 1 bedrooms are about 400 to 500. A room in a shared property, I would say budget 300 to 450 for Middlesbrough. It's one of the areas that is very cheap to live in the UK now. There's no jobs there. That's the place I use for the example the most, because a lot of Nigerian students are going to Teesside University in Middlesbrough. Even a personal friend growing up went there, and it's very hard to get work there. Data entry is possible. It's a job you can do remotely as well, if you can manage to get one. But if you don't get data entry, you're going to want to look for a normal job. No jobs in Teesside. So I tell you that for free. I know quite a few people looking in that area. It's one of those areas. The people who own that place, they're running out to more busier areas. So yeah, you've come with a follow-up one. As an international student with the 20 hours restriction remotely, well, there you go. If you got restrictions as well for data entry, you're very unlikely to get a job. They want full-time people. They want people that can work as much as possible. So, you know, you might need a second job or something you can do on the side to run in conjunction with that. Something like child minding, something like, you know, other things you can get into without the hour restrictions. Okay, so we'll move on from that one. If you got any follow-ups, come back to us. This show is supposed to be a 1-hour show. I've never brought it in on time because I like to answer your questions, but I do have to go after 2 hours. So we've been on since 9 and we'll be ending in 15 minutes. So if you have any questions, get them in now. I'm going to breeze through the last few, so I will go kind of fast. If you have anything you need in detail, kindly message us sometime in the week. We're always here for you. But yes, we've got Tokumbo, Sumola. How much does 2-bedroom cost in Luton? You're looking about 1,350 to 1,004. Is there any reasonable place I can... Don't know what the rest of that is. Is there... Do you have a problem with your thing? You've typed it about 4 times. Is there a cheap place I can stay that is close to Luton? Milton Keynes, I'll tell you, it's not very cheap. Luton is a place where a lot of people who work in London, they live there and commute down. So it used to be cheap, it's going up. Another reason why Luton is very expensive is because of the University of Hertfordshire. So there's a lot of Nigerian students going to that uni. So the prices are being pushed up quite significantly. The closest place to Luton that you could probably get cheap housing is Bedford. So think of Bedfordshire, anywhere around there. Hopefully that helps, Tokumbo. If you have any more details you need, send us a message. Femi Willie, she'll be a year old this month. I remember your question. You're talking about 3 of you in a 1-bedroom. You should be fine. If she's just 1, she's still a baby. She can stay in a cot in your room or so. Jennifer, thank you so much. Thanks for your response. Asho, okay, Blings. Asho, okay, Blings. Sorry. Hope I'm saying that right. Hi, thank you so much. Please, what is the rate for Airbnb in Manchester? Also the rates for a 2-bedroom. So I'm going to assume, because you asked for 2-bedroom, your Airbnb is also 2-bedroom. In Manchester, I would budget between 1,600 to 2,000 for a month of Airbnb for a 2-bedroom. For the permanent house, I would say somewhere between 900 to 1,100. Okay, depending on the part of Manchester. Some places you might get 800. I wouldn't count on it. Budget 900 to 1,001. It's going higher. Femi Willie, okay, what's the price of 1 bed and 2 bed in Portsmouth? My daughter will be a year this month. Okay, I'll have a quick gander for you because I can't remember off the top of my head. Portsmouth, what have we got? 1 bed in Portsmouth, you're looking at Yeah, these are all not available to September. So I don't know if you were here earlier in the show. Portsmouth is one we're telling people to start really early. Contact us now. Don't wait till September if you're coming in September. All the houses I'm looking in Portsmouth now are only available for September. If you're coming to Hull, if you're coming to Portsmouth, if you're coming to Cardiff, start. If you're coming for September, start now. Pay a deposit somewhere. Start booking things down now, because if you wait till September, the rush will overwhelm you, you know. So definitely Portsmouth, you need to start now. I promise you, if you wait till September, you will have a lot of difficulty. You want to be looking at anywhere between 700 for a one bedroom, about 650 to 800, 650 to 800. And for two bedrooms, because I found one for someone recently, I would aim between 900 to 1,100, somewhere in that range. Femi with it. Hope that helps. We've got Agbolade Rebecca. What do you think about taking the SIA? Is it possible I use it to land a job in Teesside? It is possible. It's a place with not a lot of jobs. So I can't tell you specifically you will get a job. It will improve your chances, definitely. But that area, there's not a lot of jobs available right now. So just take that into consideration. There's not a lot of work in Teesside. Ashoke Blinks, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining. I'm sorry I'm rushing through the last ones. I've talked too much earlier. Now I don't have time to answer your questions. I always go for tangents. I'm so sorry. And I'm trying to get to Instagram because we might have a few on there. Corey Day's vlog. How much will a studio apartment or one bedroom cost for Manchester for a couple? I've got admission to Manchester Metropolitan September intake. Okay, so Manchester is on the higher side, unfortunately. And it is one where people have struggled recently. But let's have a look for you. What we can see, you want a studio to one bed. Okay. So, sorry. You want to be looking somewhere in the region of, for one bedrooms, about £800 to £900 for Manchester. One bedroom, some studios about 700, 750 on average. The one bedrooms are about 900. Okay, Corridors vlog. I hope that helps. We've got Zainab Ahmed. Well done. Thank you so much for joining. Please, I'd like to make inquiry about houses in Erith or its environs. So Erith, the surrounding areas will be Sidcup, Orpington, Bromley, Dartford. So those are the environs of Erith. Erith used to be very cheap. These days, not so much. What did you say you want? Houses. You need to give me a bit more information. Do you want a one bed, two bed studio? Houses is not really helpful for us. We need a bit more details in up. So if you can come back in the next few minutes, let me know what exactly you need. So we've got UD Kalu. Is Gillingham Kent affordable for a migrant? Gillingham is quite affordable. How many of you are coming? Is it just yourself? If you need a house share in Gillingham, you can get a room in a shared apartment for about 400, 500, 400, 450 sort of thing, because I did one for someone recently. If you're looking for a one bedroom, I would aim for about 700, 600, 700 per month. So it's quite affordable. The train into London is just about 40 minutes to 1 hour, and there's very frequent services. So anyone who's coming to London as well, Gillingham is quite a nice place for you to live, and you can commute into London. Okay, so we are coming back on Instagram. I do apologize, guys, on Instagram. I haven't taken a lot from here this evening. If you really want to get our attention, you need to come on YouTube. We take more questions there. Okay, so we've missed quite a lot on Instagram. I do apologize. Wow. We're not going to get through half of this today, are we? Okay, so I'll start from the most recent on Instagram and work my way back up, just anyone we can get to. So we got Simply Nancy, and just because some of these people would have gone off by now. For someone in Northampton, where is the best place to live in terms of job search? Probably Northampton. With those cities outside, I wouldn't encourage you to live too far from the central area because transport is not as frequent as London and not as regular. So you'll be paying quite a lot if you decide to live in a different city and commute across. So you'll be paying quite a lot. What's the average cost of 2-bedroom in Birmingham? You're looking, I have answered that for someone just now. So I hope, oh no, that was Manchester, I beg your pardon. Birmingham, about the same similar thing. You'll be looking at 800, 900 a month, sort of in that range, because we just did one for someone, Feggy, last week. I don't know if she's on here, but we'll be putting that on the page this week. What's the price of 3-bedroom in Surrey and Kingston? 1,350 on average. Nope, sorry, that's 2-bedroom. You want to be looking about 1,516 for a 3-bedroom. Makachi Damsel, I hope that helps. Billy Uche, think of Risborough. I'm thinking of Risborough. Don't know what your question is. You've put Risborough in my mind now. Emmanuel, what's the minimum affordable rent in Leeds? Depends on the property size. You need to give us more information. 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, it matters a lot. 1 room in Erith is like what range? The Center Atelier. I like that name. Sense Atelier. Okay. So you'll be looking somewhere around £500 for a shared room. Baby girl Amy, can I get a 3 or 4-bedroom for less than 1.3 in 1 week? So temporary accommodation. Yes, I think so. Because for a 2-bedroom for a month, I would be saying aim for 1,618. So if you want 3, 4-bedroom, that's 650 a week. You should be fine. You should be fine. Baby girl Amy, you said less than, no, you're not going to get a permanent accommodation in less than 1 week. You need to budget for Airbnb. We've been saying this quite a lot, but people don't like to hear that. You need to budget 1 month of temporary accommodation if you're going to Manchester. You're not going to get it in 1 week. I don't like to give people false hope. You definitely need Airbnb. Amole Adetola, how's availability of accommodation in Dundee and the price rate? Dundee can be hard, depends on what you want. 1-bedrooms are hard, you know, other ones are there. You've not told us much. Browse by Andrella, how about Airbnb price in Manchester? What size of property? I don't know. Nosa Devil, I think we've taken your question on YouTube. Hadekola, what do you think about Southampton? It's a hard one to get property. If you're looking to come in September, start now. Southampton is really hard. Okay, so those are the most recent ones on Insta. Agbola Rebecca, I think I've taken that one on YouTube as well. So we'll come back to YouTube really quickly. So we got Corridor's vlog. Thank you so much. Are the prices, bills included? No. So prices we give you are not including bills. If you are renting a shared room in a house, I've covered this a few weeks back, but I think you're new to the channel because it's the first time I've seen you here. If you're renting a room in a shared house, that's the only time you get bills included. So if there's 3 people in a house, everybody has one room and they share the kitchen and the bedroom, bills will come in that. If you have their own keys to your own house, nobody shares with you, bills does not come. Budget between 300 to 400 every month towards bills. You will have to pay electricity, you will have to pay gas. Electricity can be up to 150 a month. Gas can be the same. In the winter times, it's higher. Summer, not so much, maybe 50, 80 a month. You'd have to pay TV license, and you may have to pay council tax. If there's 1 student in the house, you get 25% discount on council tax. If you need more information about bills or no bills, please check my YouTube channel, Corridor's Vlog. We covered that in one of our first episodes in very huge detail, so you'll get a lot more information there. Okay, thank you so much. Abiodun Oshuniyi, awesome job. Is it doable to live in Bolton and school at Salford? It is. It's about 30 minutes on the train. You could take a bus as well. It will be about an hour. It's a long commute every day, not too expensive. By train, I think it's £7 each day to go and come. So it's possible. I've checked that recently for someone. It's possible, and there's quite frequent services as well. So we've got Zainab, shared apartment or studio in Erith, and I'm just trying to remember your first question. You said enquiries about, okay, so shared apartment or studio. So for a shared apartment, for a room in a shared apartment, I would say £500 a month. And for a studio, yeah, I'd say shared apartment, you can even be looking up to 700. Sorry, there's some coming up here. There's not a lot of properties in Irit now that we're looking at it, actually. There's only 5 coming up on the whole site. So that's something I would consider a high pressure area. I'm going to look in the surrounding areas up to 3 or 5 miles away, and that brings us quite a few more options. So shared, you're still looking £600-700. And for studios, these are the surrounding areas we spoke about earlier. So in Kent, Green Heights, that sort of thing. For studios, Jesus Christ, you're talking up to 1,000 or more. Very expensive. This is the thing with the property market here. It doesn't wait, you know. The prices you'll be seeing last month, next month, they just start rising up. It's really ridiculous. I had someone who went to view a house in East London last week. It was advertised at 1.3. And after so many people viewed it, the landlord pulled it off the market and they told everybody, no, the price is going to 1,450. So they're very fluid with it. You know, prices we give you this week, in 2 weeks' time, may not be valid. Irit was not as expensive, even as at last month or 2 months. But when the market moves according to supply and demand, it's very, you know, it happens quite quickly here. As soon as they see a lot of people are going to one area, prices start to rise. Okay, so David Ojechi, pardon me, but regarding cheap cities, I can commute to Kent, to London. You mentioned Kent, Essex, Dagenham, and which other places? Ilford, we said. Gillingham is not too bad. You can commute. That's in Kent. Dartford is in Kent. So those are some you can look at. Pascal Egbuna, how long will it take to get a decent 3 to 4 bedroom? Where matters a lot. And you've said how soon and how much is the average. So you've not told me where it is. It could take any amount of time. So send us a message. Our number is going across there on YouTube. We can search in detail. Thank you everyone for your time. Thank you for joining. We are bringing this to a close now. Like I said, this is scheduled for 1 hour on a Sunday evening. We always end up doing 2 hours, but I do have to go at this point. Batteries are running low on the camera. Everything will shut down itself if I don't go. So at that point, we do have to close it down. Pascaline, send me a message and we can look at that in detail. Manchester, I think you'll be looking somewhere between 1,003 to 1,006 for a 3-bedroom. Yeah, nothing less than that. But if you want exact prices, we do have to bring this to a close, unfortunately. But we'll be here next Sunday with a different topic. We've covered a lot about jobs this week. And yeah, we'll be presenting you with something else new. Kindly join us, subscribe to our YouTube channel, support what we're doing here. We hope to keep bringing you great content on your relocation. Have a good evening, everyone, and take care now. Bye.